It's more important than ever before to stay on top of what's happening in marketing right now. But in the construction industry, it's really hard to be an early adopter of AI because we're an industry that's built on trust and relationships. And it's really scary to start using AI in such a high stakes environment. So I wanted to just share one of the ways that I'm using AI and how I'm starting to think about it and how I'm kind of using it despite these scary things like hallucination and people creating bad copy and bad social media posts and just all of the noise that's getting generated. Here's kind of what I've been using it for some clients that have been seeing a lot of value in it. So yeah, understanding your marketing data shouldn't feel like assembling IKEA furniture without the instructions. I built this entire presentation in Cursor. It's an AI, so I just generated it. It was a pretty quick prompt, pretty straightforward. So if all your marketing strategy sessions start with opening Google Sheets, then you're leaving money on the table. Basically, what I'm going to talk about here in this video is context-aware AI, how important that is, and how I'm using context-aware AI to quickly generate analysis and assist business owners with strategic thinking, and how I'm personally rapidly prototyping things like landing pages, SEO, and these presentations. So let's get right into it. So basically, here is a presentation that I put together for a made-up client. What I did here is I took a marketing plan, kind of just from my personal template, and I put in a bunch of dummy data into a spreadsheet, and I said, "Hey, make this marketing plan kind of match the spreadsheet." And here's just plug in this company information. So I have a spreadsheet of data that you see a lot with home builders. That's kind of like we get out of builder trend, basically. And then I also put in market research for Phoenix, Arizona. I'm pretending I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was actually able to generate a very helpful report. If I were a business owner in Phoenix, Arizona, I could make some solid strategic decisions off of this. I made this as a half-year strategic review. Zoom in a little bit. This was actually a pretty valuable presentation. So here is like kind of a high-level overview, total revenue, gross profit. I told it I had 12% profit margins. I also told it EBITDA, but it didn't include that. It's cool to be able to see like seasonal trends. I guess I'm just selling you on how nice it is to have visualized data, but yeah, so it took all this information and put it into a format that I can easily just go and scroll through and understand. This could be really valuable if you are a marketing director on an internal team and you are trying to, tell people like, hey, here's why we shouldn't spend half of our marketing budget on billboards, or here's why, like, here's the industry projection of marketing spend, and we're at half of that. Here's why, we need to spend more on our marketing department, or whatever, just provide good feedback. So it took insights about the luxury market. And actually, after I did this, I went and made another prompt, and I was just like, hey, go look on Perplexity and do a bunch of research about the Phoenix market and the other home builders in there. So I also did that. But so this presentation looks fantastic. I would be very confident sharing that with a client or in a large meeting. So I accidentally made the market research on it on the wrong presentation, but whatever, it still works. So this is one about the Phoenix luxury market intel. Deep research into Phoenix's top luxury home builders and how Rowan Construction stacks up. Phoenix looks like a really good luxury home builder market to be in. I could be going for a larger upper end market. I could be spending more. This was cool. It actually included links to the sources so I could go and double check things. I think that's actually really important to call out because the construction industry, it's scary, to get to this point where you need a lot of employees and you need a lot of people relying on you for their income. And it's really scary to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go and do an AI research and trust it to make business decisions for 15 people's livelihoods. AI can be programmed to be pretty accurate. The hallucination aspect is real, and Perplexity is a perfect business case where they have solved that problem to like enough to be accepted by a marketplace. Perplexity cites its sources, it has pretty accurate outputs, and it has very actionable responses about whatever you're trying to research. So just because we hear AI hallucinates doesn't mean that AI will always hallucinate, doesn't mean the tools that you're using are always going to make stuff up. It will get better, and it is getting better rapidly. Yeah, it's scary to use AI right now, and we don't want to be trusting it to just blindly output our social content, but with the right training and with the right structure, it can be very consistent, and it's just going to keep getting better. The hallucinations and the inaccuracy doesn't mean that it's always going to be inaccurate. It means that you just need more checkpoints and you need more little agents that are double checking the big agents along the way. So it just means that you need a different system and you need a better system. People are creating amazing prompts. The people that are flooding the internet with trash output are just not having the best prompts. You can make great content if you have the right prompts and the right frameworks and the right machines. Some of the machines aren't built yet, but they're going to be built soon. So we've covered kind of strategic thinking, instant analysis, and what it looks like to have rapid prototyping. Now let's look at context-aware AI. So the secret sauce isn't just the AI, it's context management. I think context is huge. I've been saying that for a while. So a lot of the work that went into these presentations was just the context management. The next part of this video is going to get a little bit technical. I'm just kind of going to go through what I've been doing in Cursor because I think it's really interesting and it's very valuable for some people, but I think most people aren't going to want to take the time to learn Cursor. You can do context engineering within Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity. All these different tools allow you to, dump a bunch of documents in and then talk them. Super valuable. The difference between those and Cursor is that you can also edit those documents. So if you see some sort of thing going wrong, then you can go back and re-edit them. Here's how I've been using Cursor. I will go into an example of context engineering in Cursor, and then I'll go into how I generated those presentations. So first and foremost, context engineering. Think of an SOP database. If you wanted to update, say you moved from CoConstruct to BuilderTrend, and you wanted to update all of your SOPs, that would be very difficult and it would take a long time. But with this, I can just go in and say, update all of my SOPs to BuilderTrend from CoConstruct. Here's how you use BuilderTrend. Here's how it's different from CoConstruct, right? So basically, this is just a file explorer over here that we have, right? Over here, it's just like, here's my files, here's the documents. And this is, for me, this is a copywriting workspace. So you could think of it like copywriting SOPs. Basically, I'm telling AI, like, here's how you do copywriting when you're doing it for these examples. Here's how you write for LinkedIn. Here's how you write when you're writing to my friends. Let's see, here's my core writing philosophy. just quick writing rules. So here is how I built the website presentation. I just downloaded a template from GitHub. This is just a place where people store code. And here's my GitHub presentation template. You can take it and use it. Basically, the context that I put in was a research report, market research analysis, and then a spreadsheet of our sales data, which was just made up. Here's the sales data. It's just like any other regular spreadsheet, just copied in, downloaded from Google Sheets. And then I told the AI, make a website out of this information. Make a website and, follow the template rules. That's all you have to do. And it generated this nice web page. It took some back and forth because I was building this template out while I was doing it. But, once that was done, I was able to generate the template for this presentation extremely quickly. I mean, the hardest part of this is just gathering the context and then understanding how Cursor works, which there are tons of tutorials on how to do that, and I'm also happy to answer any questions. So the last thing I'll say about Cursor is this is made for developers. There is so much investment going towards developers because it's large language models and code is language. So there's massive amounts of opportunity with AI and software developers. So there's going to be so much progress in the developer space. Understanding the developer's world and being able to kind of like work within their tool set is going to give me and my clients such a massive competitive edge compared to the companies that are waiting for HubSpot to build an integration or waiting for the perfect tool to come out that just generates these slideshows perfectly, which there are some tools that do that already. Maybe not to this degree, but pretty close. But Cursor, you can build automations in already. You saw my copywriting workflow. Like, it's really hard to create that in other tools and create something that's self-improving. There's just so many different ways that you can use Cursor, and it's going to continue to be like that with AI and developer tools. Developer tools are going to get the most funding, they're going to grow the quickest, and they're going to give me the first mover's advantage when everyone else is waiting on a tool to be made that has an easier, less scary interface. Being an early mover right now is super important and will make you a lot more money. And the best way to be an early mover is to get on the train that's moving the fastest, and that's code tools. So that's why I'm on Cursor. That's why I'm learning about it. That's why I think it's valuable for other people to learn about it who aren't programmers, especially if you are focusing on marketing, because marketing is a scary industry to be in right now. It's changing rapidly, but there's also a whole lot of opportunity. So, wrapping up, these are some ways that I'm using AI, and these are some thoughts that I have about how we're going to solve the trust issues and feeling like we can rely on it more, how I'm adding context to AI, how important context is, some ways that you can instantly generate presentations, prototype things, analyze, brainstorm. The future belongs to the adaptable, and that is just becoming more and more true as technology exponentially progresses. So the early adapters are winning right now.